Hello and welcome to the Matrix. In this episode of Matrix, we take you to the world of Samandaris. It was 17 years ago that Dr. Kazem Samandari and his wife, Dr. Christian Samandari, decided to make India their abode. Dr. Kazem Samandari is the executive chairman of high-end pastry and bakery chain Lopara. We are at his Mayfair's Gardens residence, sir. It's a pleasure.
Welcome.
To be
Delighted to
with
have
you.
you.
Yes, sir. Likewise.
Wonderful.
So,
Welcome.
Dr. Kazim and his wife, Dr. Christian, both of them are humanists who believe in selfless service to the society. Today, of course, we are at his residence so that we get to know more about him. Dr. Kazim, I must say, you have a beautiful house.
Thank you so much.
Can we just take a look around?
Please feel. This is the entrance.
Yes, sir.
Yes. As you see, we love both art and also culture. So you have plenty of books here.
Right.
And they are not just for decoration.
Yes.
We really, between Christine and me, we really read them.
Wonderful.
Yes.
And this painting, of course, is beautiful.
This painting is very special. This is the work of a Vietnamese artist.
Okay.
And the subject is always enlightenment. As you see, these are Buddhist monks.
Right.
And they are attracted by light.
By light.
And the sun.
Yes.
Which we reinforce also by putting the lamp on it.
Yes.
And it's fantastic.
Lovely,
They are,
lovely.
even if the rest is not visible, they are going towards truth, enlightenment,
towards
that which
eternity.
unites all of us.
Yes,
Yes,
of course.
eternity.
So
Wonderful.
beautiful. You have a very good collection of books as well. And these paintings, of course, are truly fascinating, sir.
Yeah.
So let us begin by asking you, sir, settling in India must have been a big decision for you. How did that happen?
Well, it was easier and simpler than anybody may have thought. So what brought us to India was the love of our daughter and our grandchild, and the second one who was on the way. My son-in-law and our daughter, they moved to India in 2005 professionally. We all lived in Paris before.
Yes.
And after 2 years, we were very homesick of our grandson and the second child, which was on the way. And one day, our daughter, who was living just the floor above us, on the first floor of the same building, called us and said, the ground floor has become available. And the landlord says, you may have it if you have friends or family, but you have 2 hours to decide.
Oh,
I was
great.
in Tokyo.
Yes.
My daughter, son-in-law, and their son, they were in Delhi. Our son and my wife, they were in Paris. We had a conference call, and in really, literally 10 minutes, we decided to move to India.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yes.
That's really wonderful. So, and you had a choice between, I've read somewhere, between China and India.
That was my son-in-law.
Okay.
He was hesitating because these were 2 offices of McKinsey. They were largest offices, I think, in the region. But then they chose India because of language advantage. It's English speaking, and Delhi was a nice place to come.
Yeah.
And there was the future of India.
We'll talk about it, but tell us about your background. You stayed, you have this Persian origin, and then you stayed in Paris for a long time, almost 19 years, isn't it?
Yes, 19 years. So I have had several big blocks of my life.
Right.
Yes. Please, let's move to the
Yes, sir.
living room. Wonderful. So it is actually, I was born in Iran, and at the age of 4.5, please, after you, at the age of 4.5, my parents left, and that was back in 1955.
Right.
They left Iran, and we went to Turkey, where we stayed for about 6 years. And then after that, the big blocks of my life, they were 20 years in Switzerland, 20 years in France, and now it's already 17 years in India. These were the big blocks of my life. Between that, a few years here and there. And yes.
And yes, of course, then settling in India was a big decision. So how's been your experience in India so far, living in India, in New Delhi?
Yes. Well, the short answer to that is that if the experience was negative, we wouldn't have stayed 17 years, and without any immediate plans also to leave India. We love India,
Right.
and we have been really integrated in the social and cultural life and business life of India. So in simple words, we have made India our home.
Right.
So when you make some place your home, you accept, you love what is the positive sides, and you accept some of the inconveniences, which is available, which is the case in any other country as well. So we love India, particularly we love Indians. We love the culture, we are admirative of the past of India, and we hope to be able to contribute a little to building a brighter future for India as well.
Of course. Now, sir, I would like to ask you that you're a member of Baha'i faith. Where how's been your experience of the member of Baha'i faith in India?
So this is a very interesting question, and it may surprise you with perhaps one thing that you don't know, is that I first came to India in 1967. 1967, that's 58 years ago, as a backpacker and a young man. I was only 16 years old. And at that time, I had heard so much about the Baha'i community of India, which was growing, which was prospering. And I wanted to see that community with my own eyes and experience it. So I spent over 2 months in different parts of India, traveling from north to south, east to west. And that was the early days of the Baha'i community in India. Over the years, this community has developed a lot, and one of its most visible symbols is the Lotus Temple, which is the Baha'i house of worship, which is a symbol of the unity and the teachings of the Baha'i faith, which brings the believers in all different religions together. Right. So the experience, I cannot think of my youth without thinking of the Baha'i community of India. And it has been a pleasure to find nearly 58 years later, now today, to see that community.
Wonderful. And so that you are, since you are a senior member of the Baha'i faith, I would like to ask you, sir, that you also carry out, every week you carry out interfaith online devotions. So could you tell us more about it, and what is the motivation, or why do you take all that pain, rather effort to carry out an online devotion? And one of your devotions I had also attended, but for a short while, but I would like to attend more of it. Please tell us about it.
Yes. Excuse me if I correct one point.
Yes,
it is, I wish one day we can do it every week, but for the time being, it's every month.
Every month, yes.
Every month.
Yes.
The first Saturday of each month, we do this 45 minutes interfaith devotionals. In our present world, religion has become a cause of conflict.
Yes.
Of underlining the differences. Right. Of trying to prove the supremacy of one over the other. Whereas the main purpose of religions, no matter which religion, is harmony, is love, is guidance, is teaching generosity, forgiveness. We know all those teachings that all religions bring. However, with time, those mainly human beings, they put and they stress the differences instead of what is bringing all the religions together. Now, in order to go to and find what brings religions together, you have to go to the holy writings of the religions. Yes. You have to find what was in their scriptures. So the idea was to have an interfaith devotionals where we take always one subject and we read from original text. We go to Bhagavad Gitas, we go to the Vedas, we go to the words of the Buddha, to Quran, to Old Testament, New Testament, Baha'i writings, etc. We don't take human interpretations. We just take the divine words.
Right.
And it is amazing how on a specific subject they all say almost the same thing. If we don't say what is the source, it's very difficult
Yes.
to distinguish what is the words of Guru Nanak, what is the Old Testament, what is Jesus, what is Muhammad. So that was the purpose. And the attendees, you don't need to convince them because that's what they hear and they see.
Absolutely. So let's, this is a beautiful lamp you have here. So can we
Yes,
sit
please.
down and
Please.
Yes, sir, please. So
Yes.
can you tell us about this
Wow,
setting?
the books,
It is
yes.
really beautiful. You know, if you can capture the setting from here, you know,
Yes.
it's the pictures which you have here.
Yes, from here, yes.
Can you come this side and capture the picture, please? Can you come and capture this?
So here we
please,
have
please,
different
yes, sir.
pictures.
Yes, sir.
Let me start
Yes,
with
sir.
the.
Let's sit down.
Yes,
and then
thank you so
yes, sir.
much.
Yes, sir.
So this is these are coasters.
Yes, sir.
And as you see, these are Persian miniatures
Beautiful.
from Iran, and they depict. These have been drawn by modern artists, but these are, you recognize, this is also an art that you find in India. Miniatures, very beautiful.
I'll just show it for
Yes,
to
please.
our viewers. You know, the beautiful, you know, these are coasters, you know, beautiful, lovely. And this photograph of yours,
Yes,
can we have a look?
Yes. This is
yes,
our family. We have two grandchildren.
Yes.
Actually, here it's our grandson. He was the cause of our moving to India.
Okay.
He was 2.5 years.
What's his
name
name?
is Laurent. Sorry, Laurent is our son. Olivier. That's Olivier, our grandson. He's now 21 years and he's in the third year of college.
Right.
In Lausanne, Switzerland.
Yes.
Then it's me when I was younger and I had more hair. And then we have our granddaughter. She's now 17. She goes to the same college as her brother. And you have Christine,
Dr.
my
Christine.
wife,
Yes,
Dr.
of course.
Christine, who is here.
Of
So
course.
that was a picture which was taken, I believe, here in India.
Yes. And what about the other picture? There are 4 members, family members.
Yes. This is, So you saw that Olivier, this is now how he is.
Oh,
that's
okay.
the same young boy.
Yeah.
He is now 21 years.
And where is he now these days? Is he
in Lausanne, Switzerland. That's there.
Okay. And what about?
And then this is my son-in-law. His name is Pierre Avanzo, and our daughter Caroline.
Okay.
These two were the first who moved to India. At that time, Olivier was only 2.5 years old, but as you see, he's now a very accomplished young man, about 20 centimeters taller than all of us.
Lovely. Here, you have a great sense of humor.
Here I have a picture which is very close to my heart. This is our son Laurent, who is the originator of the idea of l'opéra. L'opéra was his idea.
I see.
And it is not that the son followed the parents, but it is this is the case where the parents followed the idea of the son. And during one of the visits of His Holiness the Dalai Lama to the Baha'i House of Worship at the Lotus Temple, our son Laurent, who is rather shy, he was so attracted by His Holiness that he asked his secretary if His Holiness would accept him to have a picture. And as you see, His Holiness the Dalai Lama is so kind. He not only accepted, but he's almost embracing our son Laurent.
Wonderful.
And this is, I think, one of the preferred pictures of Laurent. In what do I have? And then
this picture, sir, of
yes,
this is
so this is Abdul Baha. This is the son of the founder of the Baha'i faith.
Yes.
The founder of the Baha'i faith was Baha'u'llah,
Of course.
who lived from 1817 till 1892, and his son Abdul Baha. And the translation of Abdul Baha means the servant of Baha. He did not ask for any particular position, but his glory was to serve his father and the cause of his father. So Abdul Baha, his true name was Abbas, but he always wanted to be known as Abdul Baha, which means the servant of Baha.
Right.
Very, very humble person. Very humble person. He was born in 1844 and passed away in 1921.
Right.
So, and he, once he was freed from the imprisonment that the Ottoman Empire had imposed on them, he traveled to the West. Okay. So Abdul Baha took the Baha'i message to Europe and to the United States in the years between 1910 and 1911.
Wonderful. Now, so also, if I'm not wrong, other than the interfaith devotionals, is it every month? Last Saturday, you also organize another sort of world religion.
Well, yes, we call it study circles.
Study circles.
Yes. We have on the third. You know, very well informed. I'm impressed. So on the third Saturday of every month, a group of like-minded people who come from all walks of life. We have former ambassadors, we have people from the press, we have students, we have professors of university, etc. We come together and try to discuss and see how we can contribute to the betterment of the society, bringing the development which we need, which is now the main focus of everyone. Because right now everybody speaks only about the growth rate of the GDP, about the young people, they want to become all, they create unicorns, etc., which is all very good.
Yes.
But we believe that in order...
And you, of course, yourself have been a part of the India startup journey.
Yes, we have.
Opera.
But this is a very good point. But we believe that actually these like-minded people who come together, we believe all that is good, but for it to be sustainable and to go in the right direction and not to go deviate from its purpose, you need to give it a soul and a purpose, which is then the values and also the spiritual backbone to it. And we work together with universities, we work with other educational institutions whenever we have opportunities to go to think tanks. So we bring some ideas that, for example, yes, growth is very good, but we need also equity. We need to work in a way that we can reduce the differences, the inequalities, that we need to have a sense of justice, that, for example, science needs to have guardrails, which usually come with values and spiritual dimensions, that we need, the development must be inclusive in the sense of having also women and girls as part of it, that we need social harmony, etc. Yes. So, and this is the kind of subjects that we discuss and we translate into proper action during our study circles.
Great, that's great. Now, sir, let's take a look at your, kind of the garden, small little garden you have here. It's beautiful, and the best part about your house is that that it has the traditional charm, and also it is fused with the modern style. So that's what makes it. So this is a garden which you have out here, little garden where you sit. I assume, right?
Yes.
Of course. Now, sir, I would like to ask you that. If you can walk a bit, and
please,
I would like to also.
Yes, we have here. You mentioned earlier that we had books. As you see, we have books almost everywhere.
Of course, we'll go there, sir. Please. But before that, I want to ask you another question, which is that you have been, just for the sake of our viewers, you have an experience of 45 years of professional, as an entrepreneur, and you have worked in 60 countries across various continents. There's a huge, massive experience you have, yet you're so modest, and you believe in a selfless work for the society, and you keep others before yourself. So I would like to know more about your professional experience. How's been your experience as a professional?
Actually, I am a trained engineer,
Yes, sir.
electrical engineer, electronics engineer,
Yes, sir.
and I did my PhD in industrial economy. I worked for a short period of time as an electrical engineer, electronics engineer, but then soon after that, I went into an area of social and economic development projects. I joined a very large consulting firm in Switzerland.
Right.
That's how, during that period, that I had the opportunity of discovering African continent, Asian continent, Europe, and in later years, really, we were traveling with our two children, and it was a long journey. So I wrote down, I said, let's write down the name of all the countries that I have worked. So in reality, it's 64 countries.
It's 64.
64 countries.
I stand corrected.
All continents.
Yes, yes.
Are all continents. This has been also a wonderful journey because you discover different cultures, different civilizations. But what if I take one lesson from what I learned working in 64 countries is that at the end of the day, the building blocks are human beings. And they are the same. I noticed that what they want is happiness for their families. They want to be together. They want to be sending their children to good schools. They want to have university education. They want to contribute to the society. So that was the biggest learning that I had working in all those different countries. Now, that's on one side, my learnings. After being an employee with very secure job, I started my first startup in the Sudan, in Africa. It was in 1983. It was 1983, that is 42 years ago. And unfortunately, due to political upheavals, that startup was not very successful. Then I engaged in a second startup, which was in high tech in Switzerland. And that was from 1986 till 1982, where there was a large worldwide recession. We were young. We were inexperienced, so we lost our company to the banks who had lent us money. The company is now still there. It's very, very successful. It makes, I think, 150 to 200,000 euros of turnover, but it doesn't belong to us. So after that, I engaged in another 4 startups. The last one is L'Opera, which is today in India.
Okay, so
I don't know if I answered properly your question.
Absolutely, it's wonderful. I really am falling in love with your philosophy. But now we'll also talk about your the way you dress up, which is like immaculate. And people in Delhi who know you because of the kind of the way you dress up, which is immaculate, because you have the aesthetics of both Iran and France. So that makes all the difference, I guess. And now that you're in India, so you have more,
I'm embarrassed by the compliments you're making.
Lovely, how lovely. Now, sir, I would like to ask you that, how satisfied are you? Now, I asked you about your professional journey. How satisfied are you as a person? After seeing so much in life, you've seen the kind of exposure you've had. How satisfied are you as a person?
That's a very deep question, which is not a surprise for me because I ask this question almost every day to myself. I ask this question to myself. And the answer that I have is that I cannot be grateful enough by the blessings that we have in our life. It doesn't mean that we don't have any problems. We have our share of very serious challenges and problems. But I have learned not to look to those who are better off or above me. I look to those people who have less than me.
That's the Gandhian. That's the Gandhian outlook, you know.
Yes. And you know, when I drive to the office in the morning, and I see the rickshaw and auto drivers, when I see fruit sellers, when I see street food sellers, when I see how much effort they've put, I'm sure they don't work less hours than I do. Yes. But still, look what I am enjoying in life and how much struggles they have to go through. So in that sense, that gives me immediate satisfaction by not looking and aspiring to what I don't have, but being grateful for what I have.
Of course.
And this is also then obviously this is a motivation to continue more on the efforts and try to make a contribution to the rest of the world. Again, I don't know if I answered your question properly.
It's just a right answer. But now, sir, if we can move.
Please.
I would like to know about your Indian experience as who are the people who have, you know, whom you have been influenced by. You know, who are the people who you have been influenced by?
Let me put it this way. In India, but I don't want to sound negative. There are two ways of being influenced by people. The one is following blindly someone, and I believe except the prophets who were not human beings, we should never blindly follow any human being. So we should learn from their positive sides and try to close an eye on their shortcomings. So in India, first of all, before I came to India, we came to India in 2007, which I was already 57 years old. So I had been influenced by many wonderful people before that. But when we came to India, I also discovered wonderful people, because through l'opera and through our social engagement, we meet wonderful people. I don't know if you want individual names, but there is one gentleman who used to be the president of the Club of Rome. Many Indians may don't even not know his name. His name is Mr. Khosla. He has developed a way to teach reading and writing in 6 weeks. And he has already trained millions of the villagers in India. He's a wonderful person. I mean, who can do that? And out of these mainly women, about 10,000 or so, he has taught them the basics of entrepreneurship. They have started their own businesses. Imagine what this is. And then we have the privilege of knowing people who are engaged in the promotion of human rights, or who are recognized all over the planet. Very often they are ladies. Very engaged, because our daughter was a lawyer. She was also involved in the field of human rights. I mean, you're so humbled. You're so humbled by their activities, and you learn from them. I mentioned to you, for example, that we have a wonderful friend who was a former ambassador. He has seen the world. He knows what he thinks, and he comes to the same conclusion that we need unity of mankind. We need international collaboration if we want to face the challenges of climate change, if we want to avoid the Third World War, etc. There's only one way. We sit together, we speak together, we help each other, etc. I can go. There was the Undersecretary General of the United Nations, who was an Indian, Mr. Desai, who was critical in organizing the Earth Summit in 1992.
Yes.
When you meet with him, when you talk to him, then you have wonderful people that some I know personally, some I know through their books. A lot of them are here. That their thoughts, they are world embracing.
Yes. So let's
Yes.
why not sit down and then we can
Thank you so much.
talk about your other interests. So before we get to other questions, let us first discuss about your reading interests. We see that you have a beautiful library here. You have a collection of some very nice books. Who's your favorite author? I mean, if you have so many books, it will be difficult to say there is one particular favorite author.
Yes, you know, the books that you see here, you have French books, you have English books, you have obviously you have authors which are from India, you have authors who are from Germany, but if I summarize my interest, one, I very much love biographies of great personalities and their memoirs, because by reading them you learn a lot.
Yes.
A lot. That can be, you have here books about Napoleon, you have books about General de Gaulle, but you have books about Henry Kissinger, you have the memoirs of, I don't know, Bill Clinton, etc. So by reading them, and when they explain how their thought process and how they decided to go in one direction or another, then it is really, you can learn a lot. So that's the biographies and also autobiographies. So that's one area of interest.
So which autobiography or biography has been the most impressionist in your mind, you know?
Three. I mentioned all of them. One, Napoleon. Second, about General de Gaulle. And although he may be questionable, but also Henry Kissinger.
Okay.
Because he was the master of realpolitik, and
Yes.
he did many things also which none of us likes, like the Vietnam War and bombing, etc.
Yes.
But he was the person that went and re-established the relations between the United States and China, which opened the door for everything else that happened later. Now I learned a lot from his thinking, but it's not always positive. You learn also what things which were not positive.
Right.
So that's the answer to your question. That's that part of it. I don't want to go ahead of your question.
Sure. So, sir, as about the business, you know, which has been your occupation for a while now. You've done startup. What is the mantra to do good business? You know, to become a successful businessman or come up with a successful startup?
I know that what I'm saying may not please everybody. And it's even for me still a work in progress. And I think part of the answer is inside the question that you asked. It is a successful businessman or a successful business. I believe we really owe to ourselves and to the society how we define success. Today, success is defined almost entirely on financial terms. So it is the return on your investment. It is the share price. It is how much dividends you're paying, etc. Now, I believe for as long as financial success is the only way of measuring success, this interest will go against the interests of society and the interest of our planet. So we have to find a right definition of how to measure success of an enterprise, which is obviously you need to have financial success, because otherwise loss-making business does not make a sense.
Sure.
But to cater also for the other elements that bring. So for me, a successful business is, yes, you have a reasonable return, financial return on your investments, but you also contribute to the development of the society. You contribute
should go hand in hand.
They go hand in hand. That's why even before we started L'Opéra, we defined, and this is not, when you go to corporations, very often you find something which is framed and put on the wall. This is our mission, this is this and that, etc. But at L'Opéra, we really had these thoughts even before we started. So we have the 10 core values of L'Opéra, what we call them. And it starts with a commitment to quality and excellence. It has elements of honesty. It has trustworthiness. It has element of collaboration. It has element of gender equality. We put consultation as another value. Sustainable development, but not just in terms of not using plastics, because we want to have sustainable. Sustainability means also to sacrifice perhaps some short-term gains in the interest of long-term viability, and so forth. So these are some of the values which we have incorporated. Yes, we may not be as financially successful as somebody would have put only the focus on financial results, but it gives me satisfaction to see how we deal with other human beings, how our customers are satisfied when we tell of another of our core values in a sense of service. So we try to tell our staff, you are not here just to wait for your next paycheck. You are here to serve from the bottom of your heart the customers, that when they leave or when they are with us, they have a nice experience, and when they go, they want to come and see how you smile. No. So yes. I don't know if I answered your question.
Course, absolutely. Now, sir, I would like to ask you about your educational background, which is quite varied, and it's very interesting. You have a PhD in industrial economy. Then you also have a degree in mechanical engineering.
Actually, electronics engineering.
Electronics engineering.
Very similar at that time. Electronics and these were two faculties very close to each other.
Thank you for the correction. And then, of course, you also have a degree in business administration.
Well, industrial economy and business business administration, they were very, very closely linked.
I see.
The industrial economy at the Polytechnic of Zurich, that's the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, was very, very similar to the material that is taught in business administration schools. So it had perhaps the difference in industrial economy and business administration is that the industrial economy is more practical. It is less what you learn for financial institutions and banking and investments, etc. But it has the same elements applied to industry and manufacturing.
That's right. And what about music? Your interest in music?
Yes.
Who's your favorite composer?
Well, with my wife, we listen almost every morning to Chopin, the nocturnes. We live Schubert. I love also the operas. I love also forceful music like Wagner, etc. So the interest is rather varied, but Generally, we like classical music, but you will find on my playlist we have also modern music. We have the wonderful music which is produced today, rap, metal, electronic music, etc. So yes, some of those thanks to our son who introduces this to us.
Lovely.
By the way,
there's a wide range.
Yes, but he composes also electronic music.
Oh, how lovely!
Himself, yes, he plays guitar.
We'd be interested to meet him sometime.
Yes, we should. You should. I would be happy to introduce you.
And what about Indian music? Do you listen to Indian?
Yes. You know, I wished I knew more about that, but unfortunately the hours of the day are limited, and I don't have the academic knowledge of Indian music. So my interest is just limited as a listener. And we are very, very lucky to have a couple friend of ours who actually don't live very far from here. They would be a wonderful subject to interview once. This is a couple. He is Indian. He is one of the most accomplished students of Ravi Shankar.
Okay.
His name is Shubhendra Rao, Pandit Shubhendra Rao, and his wife is a Dutch lady. Her name is Saskia Dehas Rao. She is a wonderful, wonderful musician. Okay. And what they have done, they have also combined the Western and Eastern music together. She plays what is called an Indian cello. It is a modified cello instrument which has reduced in size because she plays it the Indian way. She sits on the floor, so next to her husband, and they have a wonderful son who is now 19 years old, and he's a pianist. So thanks to them, and obviously to the others, the world of sitar is unbelievable. It's wonderful, and this you can go on and on. And now combine that with, you can imagine, cello, interpreting Indian music, and then you have their son who is right now studying in the United States. It's wonderful music.
So how much of Hindi have you picked up living here in 17 years? You must have picked up some words of vocabulary?
Yes, but I must confess that until COVID, I had also a full-time activity which was besides l'opera. So l'opera, as you can imagine, required and still required considerable investment to build the brand and to finance its expansion. So until COVID, I had full-time activities in outside India, which made me spend barely half of my time only in India. So I was traveling 15, 20 days a month in other parts of Asia. And one of the specialities that I had was to help Western startups, particularly high-tech companies from Israel, to develop their activities in India. And that took 15, 20 days of my time per month outside India. I'm just almost giving that as an excuse why I don't speak well Hindi. So I would spend about 10, 15 days a month in Delhi. And that was the time I had to concentrate on l'opera. And I really didn't have time to follow. But as you correctly say, I pick up a word, and if there is a Hindi conversation going on, I think I pick up.
You understand. Can you say a sentence of Hindi for us?
Don't try me.
Okay. No, I am not, trying you in any way, but I was just interested. Now, one last question, sir.
Please.
How's your day's routine like, from morning to evening?
Oh, that's a good question. What I tell you, it's the ideal. Sometimes it works, sometimes I have to modify something in the entrance of the other. But I wake up rather early in the morning. Well, early for me, it's like 6:30. And in my ideal day, I do two things. There is approximately 45 minutes of prayer and meditation. Then I try also to have about 40-45 minutes of physical training. I used in the early days to jog outside, but now it's because of the air pollution.
Yes.
I do it indoors. I have I have a treadmill. I turn on the air purifier so that I don't get in trouble. I have weak lungs. And then in the morning, then I prepare breakfast. And that's by the time Christine, my wife, she wakes up. So we have breakfast, and this is already prepared by me. And these early, these first 45 minutes that we spend with Christine gives us the wonderful opportunity of exchanging with each other, seeing what had been done the previous day, what are our plans for the day, etc. Then I usually go to our production facility, which is in Noida. And I spend several hours till the early hours of the afternoon. And from 2 o'clock onwards till about 5 or 6 o'clock, I have my appointments in Delhi. And I usually try to choose them in our L'Opéra outlets, which is both allows me to see how things are going on, and it is a very comfortable and nice place, the atmosphere to meet the friends, and also business discussions and appointments. After that, I usually say that this is then the second shift. We have a very, very active social life. But when I say social life, doesn't mean partying and drinking and things like that. But we have literally hundreds of friends. We are involved also in charitable work. We interact with think tanks. We interact with intellectuals. We interact with activists. So either they invite us. So we have a large network of friends in the diplomatic community. So almost every evening, or we are very much interested in arts. There are exhibitions, etc. So from 6:30, 7 o'clock till about 11 o'clock in the evening, that's how we spend our time. So it's about 4 or 5 hours every evening. And then we come back. We rarely get to sleep before 11:30 midnight. And then the routine starts again.
Yes, how nice, interesting. Rather, I'll make this the last question.
Please.
What is the secret of your energy? What is it that energizes you and keeps you active? That's a very good thing, and we hope and pray that you are active like this, forever. What is the secret?
I don't know if there is a secret, but I can share what happens in my mind. I believe because the mind pretty much drives the body. Well, as I said, we try to keep the body also healthy by exercising, by also being careful not to put out too much weight, etc. But those are secondary. I personally, sometimes I look in the mirror and I see myself also losing hair, and the years adding up to my age. But on the other hand, when I don't look at myself, I still really feel like I am 20 years old. So internally.
Yes.
And then I try to understand why you feel 20 years old. I believe as long as you have projects for the future, you have plans for the future, you want to build and achieve something, then this gives you energy, because you have to be active. You cannot just have a dream and a wish and think that it will happen by its own. I am an engineer. I know you have to do something to build. So perhaps that's the source of energy. But again, because we are not idealizing, I have my moments of doubt also. But then I try to work on myself and try to overcome them. And what helps a lot is interaction with other people. And as you mentioned in your earlier questions, as you noticed, we have a very let's say, rich and varied life. So it's not just going after the business. So we have the business, we have our interest in the Baha'i faith, we have interest in spirituality, we are interested in arts, we are interested in music, we are interested in charity, etc. And it is rare that all of them are on a negative slope at the same time. So there is at least one of them which is a source of encouragement. And then this gives you also energy to pursue the others.
Wonderful. Dr. Kazem Samandari, Awaz-The Voice gives space to fantastic people like you who believe in syncretic values, who believe in inclusive world, who promote harmony and peace. It has really been a wonderful experience interacting with you. And thank you so much for taking the time. We hope to, have another session with you, a detailed session, and learn more from you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure and honor.
Likewise, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.